This meeting of the Liverpool Plains Shire Council has been live streamed to Council's website, and a webcast of this meeting will be published to Council's website so that it is available for viewing by members of the public. I'd like people to please stand for acknowledgement of the country and council prayer by Councillor Jason Allen.
Today we gather on the land of the Kamilaroi Nation. We therefore need to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of this land. We also pay our respects to the Aboriginal elders of past and present, and further extend that respect to other adults who have joined us today. Council prayer. Lord, we ask you to watch over this council, guide us in our deliberation and decisions for the betterment of all the people of our Shire and Australia.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. Apologies and applications for leave of absence by councillors or attendance by video, audio, visual link by councillor. The recommendation that the request by Councillor Simpkin and Councillor Kane to attend today's ordinary meeting of council be received and accepted. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Cohen, do I have a second, please? Councillor Robertson. The mover will speak to the motion.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion?
No, thank you.
If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Are there any apologies or applications for leave of absence? Minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of October 2025. The recommendation one, that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of October 2025 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Robinson. Second, please. Councillor Lawson. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. If you have to confirm that we're officially.
Oh, I do like to confirm that. Yeah. Anyway, if I was Councillor Simpkin, Councillor Kane, you will vote in favour of that motion? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any conflicts of interest in matters under consideration of the ordinary meeting in accordance with Part 4 and Part 5 of the Code of Conduct?
Yeah.
That's like, Councillor.
Sorry, there is, but there isn't. I'll just, technically there is a conflict or an interest in regards to, go back and find what number is in there. So, yeah, it is the Royal Theatre project and disposal of the Royal Theatre. 12.4. I'll just, I'll it down. And I'll leave the room, just for transparency.
Councillor.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Councillor. We're going to move the item 7.2 forward in the business paper, so the auditors can leave the meeting. Can I have a mover, please, that be allowed? Second, please. Thank you very much. So we'll go to 7. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. So we'll go to 7.2. Presentation and adoption of the audited 2024-2025 financial statements. The recommendation of Council 1, receive and adopt the audited financial statements and auditors' reports for the year ended 30th of June 2025, incorporating the general purpose financial statements, special purpose financial statements and special schedules as tabled in Annexure A, and 2, publish the audited financial statements and auditors' report on our council's website. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Robertson. Seconder, please. Councillor Cowan. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Before we vote, we would like to hear from the authors if that was possible, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just prepared just a small presentation which we'll just talk through the engagement to date, and then happy to take questions from the council. So I'll just have my colleague JR just present the PowerPoint slide. Thank you, JR. So again, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and councillors, and thank you for the invitation to speak to you all about the financial statement audit of council. As I mentioned before, joining me today is Joan Ray Uyanguran, who's the Associate Director leading the engagement on the ground and was council's primary conduit. Change the slides, please. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, our audit of the general purpose and special purpose financial statements, as you mentioned earlier, is complete, and I am pleased to report to council that we issued unqualified opinions for these statements. What this means, Mr. Mayor, is that based on our audit, we have not identified any material misstatements or contraventions with the Australian accounting standards, and have concluded that the accounts do present fairly. Thanks, JR. Mr. Mayor, I think it's important to reflect on the journey council has gone through over the last few years. You'll note on this slide the differences in the timeliness for which the independent auditors' reports were issued. Interestingly, what's not included here was the date that the financial statements were certified in 2023, which was the 28th of March 2024. So I particularly want to congratulate council for really improving this particular metric on timing. It has not been an easy journey for council, and when I reflect on my notes and looking backwards, the last time council actually met the statutory reporting timelines proffered by the Office of Local Government was actually in 2021. So credit to the management team there for producing what we found to be a very good set of financial statements. Now, the report on conduct of audit, which is included in your packs, is a document that I'm required under legislation to provide. I've just drawn some high-level elements from the report, which have been disclosed in the slides as presented. I'll only refer to the operating result from continuing operations. As you'll note that the operating result for council this year was about $10.6 million lower than the prior year. And that's been driven primarily by grants and contributions that have been received from external sources, be it state government or the Commonwealth. The statement of financial position, or your net asset position, you'll see is only marginally increased and is relatively the same from the prior year, really a reflection of the net result for the year and minor fair value adjustments to the carrying value of your property and plant and equipment. As I mentioned a bit earlier, the council's reduction in operating result is equally reflected in your net operating cash flows, with reductions in cash flows really largely reflecting the reduced grants and contributions received by council this year. Thanks, JR. For the council's information, and obviously included in the report on conduct of audit, you'll note we've just highlighted a couple of standard metrics, particularly around debt and liquidity. You note that there is a slight decrease or a decrease from 2024 to 2025, again largely reflecting the lower grants and contributions received during the year. Thank you, JR. Mr. Chair, you may or may not have been made aware, but more recently we have a new Auditor General, that started about a year ago. The Auditor General had an opportunity last year to visit Quirindi and meet with the then General Manager to really understand some of the pressures that councils, particularly outside of Sydney, are facing. He continues to do that, Mr. Mayor, having been out in Broken Hill, I think about 2 weeks ago. I was the beneficiary of that visit. I actually went out there as well. So, but I think his particular emphasis, Mr. Mayor, is to be viewed as more than just a Sydney-based Auditor General and really to understand what is going on out in New South Wales. And his reports, Mr. Mayor, will probably reflect that position that he has promulgated, certainly out in the sector. There are a couple of reports that will be tabled in this side of the calendar year. One will be the local government sector report, which is just an annual report just detailing the results of our financial audits, and 2 performance audits that are disclosed here on the slides, being the Local Government Recovery Grants Program and long-term financial planning. The audit work program, Mr. Mayor, really just distills what the Auditor General's roadmap is over the next couple of years, with a particular focus on these 5 elements, being the efficiency and use of public resources, grants administration, capital projects, climate and First Nations. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to speak. And again, I just wanted to reiterate how pleasing it is that we have been able to close out Council's 2025 audit by the statutory reporting deadline. Even more so, our final deliverables incidental to the financial audit being our management letters being closed out within a reasonable time frame. That sets us up for next year's engagement, and I suppose onwards to better things. I think once a financial audit becomes business as usual, it is not supposed to be a super arduous task. It is a function that really, in my opinion, should just be in the ordinary course of Council's business and discharge of duties. Thank you. Happy to take any questions that the Council may have.
Thank you very much. Very good report. Thank you very much for involving our council. Out there. I thank Daniel very much for the director for doing such a great job in helping you follow us through the process. But has anyone got any questions for the audit committee? If not, do you want to last point to the General Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, New South Wales Audit Office, for that presentation. Just from management's perspective, I just wanted to extend our appreciation to you for your support during this audit. I know at the beginning it was touch and go and there were a few concerns, but we are very pleased with how the audit has been carried out and the final outcome. And just, I guess, as the GM, I want to extend my appreciation to our Director, Daniel, and Manager of Finance, Katrina, and all of her staff within the finance team. This has been a great team effort, and they've done an absolutely terrific job. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So if no one else has the need to speak for or against the motion, vote all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Mr.
Jan.
Mayor, we'll
Thanks,
take our
Jan.
leave.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
And now we'll go back to 5. Mayoral minute. The recommendation. The Council 1 open meetings, functions and events attended by the Mayor in official capacity on behalf of Liverpool Plains Shire Council for the month of October 2025 as detailed in this report. I would like to move this report. Do I have a second, please? So Lawson. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cowan.
Yeah, I just had one question, if you could elaborate maybe on the meeting of the 24th of October with Whitehead and Cole and the rehabilitation. Can you give us a bit of an update on that process, please?
Exactly. We sort of still left in limbo. We had Daryl and Darren from Whitehaven, and it's more about the process they want to go through. I think we thought that they actually might split it up and sort of off in sections, but I think the way they were talking, that it might be actually trying to be sold as a whole. I think they're still sort of waiting from the people of Ludlow to make that decision of how they move forward. But generally, yeah, they're keeping us in the loop more so than they've done before. The rail hub is part of the sale, and they're quite happy to keep it, or they're going to keep it no matter what. But they're sort of saying that, you know, whoever takes it on might be able to work out a strike a deal and work together. So that's a long way off too at the moment. You know, Julie and Ken were both there. Do you have anything to add? Yeah, so I think, generally it was positive, and I think everyone's a bit more upfront now on what's been before. So there's nothing set in concrete, but we have there, there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Kane.
Mr. Mayor, can you just maybe give us a heads up of what the meeting was regarding the Crindi Aerodrome, please, if you could?
I think with the aerodrome is more about how we're going to. We had Mrs. Brown, who was tied up with Farming for Kids, and Les Brown, who's the main operator out of the function. Our facility. So, look, it was, something we're just trying to work out how we can actually move forward with the cost and everything that's incurred out there. It's been a thing that's been going on for years that maybe Les Brown could probably do more in that space, but that was just one of those things that council probably never taken on board before. But so this is trying to work out how we can actually move forward with the facility to make it more viable. So, so that was basically what it was about. It was just, see what their thoughts were of how the facility could be used, different ways we could actually move forward, different aerodromes that are run by councils work in different ways. Whether you divide blocks long, people buy those blocks. And on the aerodrome site itself, not the land around it. Farming for Kids do spend a lot of money in the area, supporting a lot of different charities, schools. So they do a magnificent job. So that's sort of still trying to work in with them. So generally, it was good. I think everyone left it quite happily. Some good and Julie were there, so nothing more.
Mr. Mayor, are the users aware of the ageing infrastructure that the aerodrome is, and the fact that we're sort of looking that we may need to spend considerable money bringing the airstrip, the aerodrome facilities up to speed to still facilitate the use? We hear often the term grandfather clause regarding how we operate that facility. Are the users, I hope they would be, are they aware that there could be some really major challenges coming up for us as a council to see whether this remains a viable facility for us to own and operate? I'm guessing they are, but as long as it's no great shock when, we do find out how much it's going to cost us to continually spend to upgrade that facility under the requirement of CASA, etc. So are they aware of that?
Yeah, I think so, Councillor Kane. I'm sure everyone's aware of it. It's just we've just got to work out a business model that we can actually see how we can make it work. And if we can't make it work, then the council can make decisions on how we move forward. But generally, everyone's aware of what's got to happen.
Okay.
It's just how the ducks align a bit with, the new schools that run out of Tamworth and whatever else, what other usage that airport can be put towards besides Les Brown flying an ag service out of it.
Yeah.
So, we're all on the same page, just sitting down and having some meaningful discussions there. We can actually move forward, make it actually pay for itself.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else? Wishing to speak for or against the motion, or any questions? If not, all in favour? And against? Carried. Thank you. 6.1, resolution register update recommendation of Council 1 receive and note the resolution register as at 31st of October 2025 as appended at Annexure A and the resolution register for 2024 as appended at Annexure B. I have a motion. Councillor Lawson, second please. Councillor Carmen. Does the member wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Lawson.
And I'll come to these on those. I was just wondering in relation to resolution 2025-22 and resolution 2025-33, I noticed that these were from some time ago. Just wondering if they've been reallocated to new staff and they've been scheduled. And then I was just looking for some updates. I'm just trying to which ones these are now, so you'll get scrolling through.
Sorry, Councillor Lawson, what numbers were they?
2025, 22 and 33. Yeah, so happy to take this on notice, just wanted to point those out. I was wondering if there was any update on number 56 being the works that are to be happening at the golf course. I wonder whether they have any further movement on those things. So 56. There was an item that we laid on the table, so I think that's the same. We'll be reviewing the further report to come to council to review the curb guard policy. Anyway, happy to share that. I'm sorry, I didn't bring this up to me. Number 200, I think, is completed. And going back to that one in 2020. Just noting these, I don't need answers on them. Just going back to 2024-206, which is that one that still was outstanding, that was for my motion a few years back now. The traffic committee supports that school crossing in the Allen Street principle, and I think it's moving forward with the design. And I was just wondering if we should take off the bit about the, or say that the bit regarding the bus route changes were not happening anymore, because that's something that's not going to happen. So whether we take that, that's completed.
General Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. You're going to test my memory now, but I think I managed to mark each of them, so I will work through them. The first was Resolution 2022, which concerned the development of an events strategy and the provision of the arts and cultural plan. That action will rest with our Director of Planning and Community. Pleasingly, councillors, we have received our draft destination management plan from Sasha Leonard, the consultant we engaged to do that work. That came through last night, and that speaks to these themes around events and arts and culture, and includes in the action plan component some actions for council to consider in terms of events, attraction and arts and culture generally. That draft DMP will be circulated to councillors this afternoon in business paper for next week's workshop. The next item, which was 2025-33, which was supporting the Rural Doctors Network, I have taken on responsibility for this one, and I attend the monthly collaborative care meetings, which are held with RDN and other local stakeholders, including Walhollow and the Quirindi Aged Care and those sorts of stakeholders. We are still going closer, unfortunately, to securing a GP to take on that clinic, but the work is very much continuing behind the scenes to do that with their support, and we certainly thank the Rural Doctors Network for their support. The next item, which was Quirindi Golf Club, the manager of water, waste, and I met with the club on Thursday 30th on site. It was quite a productive and results-focused meeting. The manager is tic-tacking with them just to get some information around their irrigation requirements so that we can help actually spec up a potential solution for the club. That does not commit the council to funding or financially assisting them with that solution, but it's more about just helping them come up with a solution that would work for them. And the manager is continuing to work with their club. Next item, which was 2025-156, which concerned the repeal of various policies. That was, as you pointed out, Deputy Mayor, laid on the table at the August meeting. That has not progressed. We have not revisited those policies, but we will prioritise that for the future meeting, either December or February. I will speak for the Acting Director of Infrastructure regarding those. Sure, there was one. Oh, yes, as you pointed out in that last one, which was regarding two pools, 2025-200, that at the time of this business paper being produced was in progress. We're pleased to say it is completed, in that both the pools were opened on Saturday the 22nd as planned. We held the community open day in Quirindi, which was well attended. We are working on a similar event for Werris Creek to be held in early December, but both pools are operational and welcoming patrons. I believe that was all.
That's all awesome.
Thank you. Again, I only meant to take everyone notice, but thank you very much for going through that. Appreciate it. Yeah, just that last one from 2024. I was just wondering whether we should update the portion, the first part of that won't actually progress, which is the bus route, but that part is completed going forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Cohen.
Just further to Councillor Lord with a query on 2533 and the rural doctors. I just want to inform Council that I fielded a phone call last week from the Rural Doctors Network asking for information in relation to sporting opportunities for a young female doctor. I was interested, seriously interested in this coming to Quirindi. And they were putting together a little booklet in relation to our council, the opportunities within the Liverpool Plains for that doctor. So yeah, I just want to update that.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen, through the Mayor. Yes, one of the key findings from the Rural Doctor Network's research is that those doctors who are really genuinely welcomed into the community and I guess given a warm welcome by local stakeholders, I guess the research shows they are more likely to stay within the area for longer. They have also approached council to include a nice mayoral message, which I haven't flagged Mayor as yet in that publication, and we will certainly cooperate and help them with that. And hopefully, if this doctor is secured, then other ongoing initiatives to make sure that they are socialised and welcomed within the community.
Thank you, Councillor Kane.
Mr. Mayor, just a note on resolution 2025-201 regarding our LAGs. I was actually contacted by the president of the Werris Creek Progress Association through the week, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion that they think that that they may not understand that the group has been accepted as a form of LAG, and correspondence and communication will proceed alike, similar to the operation of our LAGs. I'm just wondering if the general manager has made any correspondence with that group just to explain that they haven't been excluded from participating in the activities that the other LAGs throughout the Shire would be. I'm just not sure whether we've relayed any communication and understanding to them that there's still an identity as far as a local association within our Shire. I'm not sure whether that has been passed on to that particular group. Thank you.
The General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. Through the Mayor, I'll follow up the status of that correspondence, Councillor, but what I will do is reach out to Mr. McHugh myself personally by phone tomorrow, just to tee up a time where we can actually meet in person and talk that through. So I will commit to following that up tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Not all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 6.2 adoption of the 2026 schedule of ordinary council meetings. The recommendation the council will adopt the draft schedule for ordinary meetings for 2026 amended at Annex A pursuant to section 365 of the Local Government Act of 1993, clause 3.1 of the Code of Meeting Practice. 2, request the General Manager to provide public notice of the time, date and location of each scheduled ordinary meeting to be held in 2026 pursuant to section 9 of the Local Government Act of 1993 and clause 3.3 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Do I have a motion? Mr. Lawson, do I have a second? Mr. Robinson. Is the mover wishing to speak to the motion? Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Point 3, council service provision, Christmas New Year closures 2025-26. The recommendation the council will receive and make the Christmas New Year close down arrangements for Liverpool Plain Shire Council services and facilities as detailed in this report. Do I have a motion? Councillor Cohen, seconder, Councillor Lawson. Is the mover wishing to speak to the motion?
Just have a question for Mr. Mayor, just on notice item H, page 39, saying the works department closed at 12 p.m. Wednesday, the 25th of December, resumes needed operations at 7 a.m. Monday, the 5th of January. I just wondered if those dates were actually correct, or whether they are there.
To the General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen, and through the Mayor. One of those dates is incorrect, and I apologise, which is the closure date, Wednesday the 25th. That should be, I believe it's midday Christmas Eve. I follow that one up. But the second date, the depot will reopen from 7 a.m. on the 5th. But obviously, over the Christmas period, we have skeleton crews on to respond to any urgent matters that may arise over that festive season. Yep.
Councillor Lawson.
Yes, maybe we can go through by exception to try and get through some ones.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.1 monthly statement of investments for October 2025. Recommendation of Council 1, receive and note the statement of investments as of 31st of October 2025, submitted at Annex A. 2, receive and note the Imperial Markets monthly investment review report for the Liverpool Plain Shire Council as at the 31st of October 2025 is appended to Appendix B. Do I have a motion? Mr. Lawson, seconder. Mr. Hobbs. Who wishes to speak to the motion? Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Done. 7.3 endorsement of the 2024-25 annual report. The recommendation the council one endorse the 2024-25 annual report appended to Appendix A pursuant to section 428 of the Local Government Act of 1993 and 2. Note that the annual report 2024-25 will be submitted to the Minister for Local Government, published to Council's website by the 30th of November 2025 pursuant to section 428 brackets 5 of the Local Government Act of 1993. Do I have a motion? Awesome. Second, please. So go on. So who would to speak for the motion? So
Just have a couple of questions along the section later. Thank you.
and those wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Chairman unanimously. Thank you. Seven point four, internally restricted funds as at the 30th of June 2025, the recommendation of council one, that the following amounts of internally restricted funds at the 30th of June 2025 for approval as detailed in the table provided in the report. Does have a copy of that? So not agreement. So do I have a motion? Second. Lawson. Who wishes to speak on the motion? Anyone else wish to?
Is the link being lost, Charlie?
I can hear you.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, yeah, so just quickly, in case we give another whack at that. Is anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion?
What one are we up to, Mr. Mayor? Is this 7.4?
7.4, internally restricted funds. Question, Councillor Simpkin?
Yeah, I do, if I could. I've actually got a few for this one. I did miss the workshop the other day, so I apologise if this was covered. But if we're having a look in the roads section, it notes 202k for Bora Creek Road, 159k for Waverley, and 88k for Wallabadar, their respective areas. Were they project overruns on budget?
Thank you, Councillor Singleton. We're actually on item 7.4, which is internally restricted funds. I believe those questions between the item 7.5 and quarterly budget review.
Oh, you are correct. My apologies. I'll video record myself for the next one. Sorry about that.
Right, champion. So no questions on Councillor Lawson.
I just had a question sort of around my understanding of how this table works. I noticed that under item the business remediation objectives got from 250,000 to zero, but then we've got another line under business system remediation going from 0 to 200,000, but it seems to be the same sort of project. And I'm just wondering why there was a differentiation. Also, does that mean that the 250,000 before was already spent, or is that already eligible? Is that a different bucket of money? Yeah, thank you.
General Manager.
Mr. Mayor, they are two different projects. Unfortunately, a lot of the operational planning works programs together have very similar titles, but different systems of work behind them. That project is complete, and two of the balance this year on the information technology one, which is a different project as discussed. It's the civic authority and altitude upgrades and different projects in that section, and different sets of reserves on that.
Thank you. Does that cover Councillor? Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Allen on still on 7.4 internally restricted funds. Any questions? Councillor. Second.
Yeah, sorry about that. I did find the question I had. I note that the restricted funds for quarry remediation hasn't increased, given the amount of gravel that councillors extracted and subsequently internally sold for its resheeting programs and construction. It's a little bit of a concern. Is council not apportioning a percentage of the per tonne sell rate for further remediation in the future?
Thank you. Through the General Manager.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, historically, Charlie, there's been no cost base, Councillor Simpkin, there's been no cost base put together regarding that. So none of this, there hasn't been anything set aside for the reserves. We also had a rather large own source expenditure last year on our road maintenance, based on the SRB funding we received and all the work we've done in that space. That is being looked at with the rebuild of the budget for next year and to actually putting charges internally to make public reserves again.
Thank you. Councillor Simpkin, does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We're going to go through them one by one. We're going to block them. Oh, sorry. 7.5 quarterly budget review statement for the period ending 30th September 2025. The recommendation of Council 1 adopts the quarterly budget review financial statement as amended in Annex A for the period ending 30th of September 2025, incorporating the variations disclosed as the revised budget. Do I have a motion? Councillor Simpkin. Second, please. Councillor Lawson. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Simpkin.
Yeah, I'll start again. There's several projects noted in the roads section that appear to a layperson like me as budget overruns, predominantly Bora Creek Road, Waverley Road, the Wollabadar Road resealing. Are they? Can you confirm if they're budget overruns on those projects, or whether I'm interpreting that incorrectly?
The General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, from my understanding through the work done with the roads team and what Tim has put together, there's some overruns that weren't factored into the original costings for those, and that's what relates to those.
Sorry, that sort of broke up. I didn't really hear you there, Daniel.
They are overruns. They weren't factored into the original costing, and due to some other events that have occurred with changeover of staff and I guess pick up of what we've inherited. There's been some overruns in that road stand, which for instance Tim's joy that he's had to cover, and that's why those fundings, or that funding has increased to cover those specific projects.
Okay. Understanding that we You know, we're making some changes in some project management space, more in the major projects than this. Has council considered any corrective action around this? Any process improvements? Where are we at? Because the a 202k overrun on Bora Creek, which was not that big a job, and Waverley Road as well is pretty exorbitant. And it's taking away, obviously, further money that we can be whacking into our aging and deteriorating network elsewhere. So, could someone run me through how we're going to be fixing this going forward?
The General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Simpkin, and thank you, Mayor. In terms of what specific improvements or changes have been installed within the infrastructure directorate, I would need to call upon the acting director.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. As Councillor aware, I've only been here for a very short period of time. We've identified that there are significant issues surrounding the delivery of our works. Part of the process going forward is that we'll be delivering a monthly report to council on all capital works, so they'll keep them on site on the way the projects are progressing. That'll have the original budget, and if there's a variation required, we'll have a variation with an explanation. That's the initial component. We're still looking at a lot of these works with regards to why they've increased their personal manager operations. Excuse me, it's only been in a short period of time as well. So basically, we're endeavouring to investigate what processes have been and address the issues where we can. But there'll be a further report back to council once we've done a deep dive on it.
Thank you very much. Does that answer your question, Councillor Simpkin?
It does. I've just got one more. The 300k carry forward for the Crindai transfer station, that would logically be aligned to the rehab of the Crindai waste management facility, and I believe that those funds were flicked into cover some shortfall at Willow Tree. Is there a plan on how we're actually going to get that Crindai facility up to scratch, well, with cash anyway, to fund it going forward?
The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, at this stage, Councillor Simpkin, with the works in relation to Willow Tree, the landfill, and then post the completion of that, moving into the rehab of the Crindai site, we are in the process of putting paper together for December to request council seek debt to allow us to complete that project. And as part of that, I'm working with the project manager internally and externally in regards to ensuring we factor in the costs required and cash that we would need to actually do the Crindai rehab as well.
Can we, if possible, Mr. General Manager, can we allocate some time in the December briefing to get across this one, please, mate? Sorry, Mr. General Manager, because it sort of needs a bit of attention. I know our focus has been elsewhere, but it might be time to really get into the nuts and bolts of this one.
The General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor. We are issuing the business paper for the December workshop this afternoon. It won't include our report on this matter, but that doesn't prevent us from allocating time at the workshop itself to discuss it. And I will ask the Manager of Water and Waste and the Acting Director to prepare a late report, but it will not be in the business paper that you received today.
Thank you very much. That's enough for me. Thank you, General Manager. Mr. Mayor.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Oh, sorry, Councillor Kane. I'm not at the screen at all.
Sorry. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just and I know our acting director for works is only new in the job, but when we're looking at maybe a bit of a breakdown of what's occurred with our overspends, could you just have a look also at the Merriwar Road rehab? So those two items are 780k, but what really shocks me is the Merriwar Road technically is being closed since we've had this major landslip on the adjoining shire. So how did we possibly, if we could just be told, how did we possibly spend that much money on a road that's physically hasn't been used for close to 18 months? And there would have been, or there was, a considerable amount of work done on that section right up to our council boundary with Upper Hunter Shire Council. So the fact that it's been allocated to that sort of shocks me. And it's as Councillor Simpkin said, it's a significant amount of money. So if you just maybe try and juggle that around so that figure was explanatory, if you could please, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
The General Manager.
Thank you, through the General Manager, Mayor and Councillors. I'm aware there's significant work that has been done on Maryborough Road, excuse me, on rehabilitation. It's just a section's just been completed and sealed and line marked, and there's some heavy patching there. I'll take that on notice and I'll investigate that further as to where the funding is coming from and what the other thing component that I'm looking at in the Capital Works report. We'll have an item what grant funding or where the funds are coming from for these projects, whether it's an R2R funding or a natural disaster funding or council funds. So it'll be a breakdown so we get a better line of sight over where the funding is coming from.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there anyone? Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, just back to Councillor Kane's question. There was a land slip on your side. Well, that's probably where some of that money's gone to.
Yes, through the Mayor, there was remediation works in that area that was done just before I arrived. There was some of it done by contract labour and also Dustin Council day labour. I believe some of that was actually through natural disaster funding. So I'll have to clarify that. I'll report that back.
Thank you very much, anyone. Councillor Lawson.
This was details to us that these works were being undertaken to take advantage of the fact that the road was still closed and take works on while it was closed to be not only less imposition to the community, but also so that there's less cost of traffic management. So yeah, it was an unexpected cost. I guess that was explained to us, so that was why we're taking the opportunity to it. Didn't know the dollar figure on it before, but so yeah, we certainly need to work out whether that's impacting other projects, but yeah, that was the reason.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, vote in favour. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.6 Public Exhibition of Draft Customer Experience Charter and Customer Experience Policy. The recommendation of Council 1 endorse the revised Draft Customer Experience Charter appended at Annex A and the Draft Customer Experience Policy appended at Annex B to be placed on public exhibition for a period of 28 days. 2. Receive a further report at the conclusion of the public exhibition period to consider any submissions prior to adoption of the Draft Customer Experience Charter, the Draft Customer Experience Policy. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Lawson, Councillor Simpkin, second. Thank you. So who wishes to speak to the motion?
Yes.
Councillor Lawson.
I just really wanted to commend this piece of work that's been done on this customer experience charter and customer experience policy. Obviously, you know, having clear defined expectations is a big part of success in that customer experience that we have. And so having that clear and formalised for everyone is great. We also had a really good presentation on this in the workshop from Paul Drummond, which I really appreciated. And the commitment was that customer experience was everybody's job. So I really appreciated that commitment to improving the customer experience. There's still some issues that were noted around our IT system, our CRM system, as far as closing the loop, if you like, providing feedback. At the moment, to close out an item that sends an automated response, which is quite doesn't give a lot of information to the person that came from. So we're still investigating ways to address that. But it's great to see this forward direction on improving that customer experience with inquiries. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak? Councillor Robinson.
Thank you. I seem to find there's a lot of issues with customer service. Like I know one issue I brought forward was 71 days to hear back. Another one's been over 100. Another one's over a year to get a leak fixed that had been previously fixed before. So I think we have to set some real, solid standards and stick with them. It's no good putting something on a piece of paper if we're not willing to back it up. Thank you.
You don't want an answer to Councillor Robinson's statement or question?
Well, yeah, an answer as well, because if we're going to set guidelines, we have to follow them.
Yeah, I think that's one person. To the gentleman.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson, and through the Mayor. Yes, so what this does is outline service standards and service levels. In terms of your comment around the need for council staff to be accountable for service delivery and meeting these obligations, I guess your comment is noted. Thank you.
Councillor Sankin, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's I think the policy is really good, and the fact that we've sort of put some service timeframes in there is great. I would love some additional detail around particularly some of the infrastructure items. So we've obviously, we can see there's category 1, 2 and 3 issues and respective timeframes for those. I suppose my question is in two parts. One, who will be determining what category it is, and 2, what sort of guidelines will they have in front of them, noting that this is a response time frame, not an action time frame. My concern is that one person's category 1 is another person's category 3, and I would hate for a mix-up to occur and potentially quite a severe issue go undealt with for potentially 20 days.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. And through the Mayor, you are 100% correct, Councillor. We will update the data to actually, I guess, refer to where those 3 categories are actually defined in detail, because the customer who's reading this document needs to understand that there is an objective, I guess, criteria, and so we can, I guess, incorporate that in this chart so that customers know what it's.
I didn't hear any of that, but it's okay. Well, the line's really bad, so I might catch up and we can have a yarn about that later in the week or something.
Your question has been noted and will be put into the document. Some form or another. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Not all in favour? Against? No. Councillor Robertson doesn't vote, so against? Yes, it's against. Thank you very much. Point 7, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee for October 2025. The recommendation of Council 1, receive and note the draft minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting of the 17th of October 2025 appended at Annexure A. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Lawson, Councillor Cowan, seconded. Thank you. So maybe we just speak to the motion. Councillor Lawson.
Just had a question regarding, is there any movement on reviewing our debt recovery? Obviously, I know we've spoken about this informally. Just wanted to note it down that the current system isn't really the best way for council or for customers. So just wondering if that's sort of on the table to get done. Thank you.
Who's the general manager?
Mr. Mayor, yeah, the debt recovery policy is being addressed. We know it isn't too far out of line with the actual debt recovery beginning. We are working on our internal process to streamline that things internally, so that you can manage a lot more internally before we see that source help. And it was discussed at and it is noted in small rural towns, it is always a tough situation when you've got people based in the area, but then on the other end of the phone, to discuss debt limits with people that have known forever. So we will always need that third party evidence to help with that down in the space, and the debt recovery policy is due for review by the February meeting.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. 8.1 monthly Shire presentation report. The recommendation of Council 1 receive and note the monthly Shire presentation report for November 2025. Do I have a motion? Councillor Cowan. Seconder, Councillor Allen. Mr. Mayor, wish to speak to the motion. Councillor Cowan.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a comment in relation to the supporting grounds. Support the report in saying that we've been extremely well utilised in November by the users that are mentioned there. However, there has been some criticism levelled at council in relation to the condition of the canteen area, not in things that have been discussed previously with the football club, but more in line with cleanliness and the fact that there's quite a spider infestation and a burn presence, and there are a couple of fairly large events to occur there in the next couple of weeks, where a couple of the users will require that canteen to dispense pre-prepared foods and things like that. So it's just hoping that something might be able to be done in that direction. Other than that, I just think that the department in West Garden there has been achieving quite a bit in the different areas, and I'd like to congratulate them on their accomplishments.
Thank you, Councillor Cowan. If anyone else wishes to speak, Councillor Kane first.
Mr. Mayor, just if I could make a comment regarding town maintenance, and to an extent, somewhat the lack of it. I did raise this in council a couple of months ago with Tim sitting in the acting chair. I just wonder if we can't, or whether we could possibly start utilising our street sweeper in other towns. I mean, at the moment the main CBD of Werris Creek's main street is disgraceful. It's a really simple issue of our staff. We used to have a regular staffing run there 3 times a week with 2 gentlemen that did the bins and also did some gutter sweeping and a general look at what's occurring in the area. Whether that has changed with staffing levels, I don't know, but to be honest with you, the main street of Werris Creek at the moment is disgraceful. Bins are falling apart, which hasn't been noticed. It's been brought to my attention, so obviously our staff aren't there to see it. And the other thing that I would really like to ask, I'm well aware that Shire actually has, or the council has, or we have a buggy for getting around and spraying weeds and doing weed mitigation in close areas. I see it in the streets of Corindai continually, but I think we need to start to get out and have a look at some of our villages and our other towns in our Shire and start giving some equal services to them. And again, being a resident up at Werris Creek. The gutters and the weeds in the gutters and around footpaths is just appalling at the moment. And I know we've had a wet area. Probably this time of year, Christmas is coming up, so we're going to be short-staffed. We don't nut it on the head now. We're going to go from weeds that are a foot tall to thistles and whatever. So I'm just wondering, I know our outdoor staff is stretched, but in saying that, we charge people rates. I don't expect our residents to be out in the gutter with whippersnippers and shovels cleaning weeds. And more the point, as I noticed, spotted the other day, I don't expect elderly ladies to be out on the street apron chopping down weeds coming through the bitumen. So I really think we need to get out and have a look and actually see what things are like. And sometimes a regular maintenance is much better than letting it just go from quite acceptable to totally unacceptable. So if I could just ask that maybe our works engineer could ask that, just an eye on some of these areas. I'm sure if I spot it in a couple of centres, it's occurring around the lot. And as a ratepayer, they deserve a clean and tidy main street and frontage. And I don't think some of our villages and other towns are just receiving that at the moment. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
The General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Kane, and through the Mayor. What I can say, Councillor, is the Acting Director and the Manager of Operations have actually developed a forward program for our Parks and Reserves team. So this is a long-term forward program for them. I will need to follow up to make sure, I'm sure it does, of course, include Werris Creek, but just to get a better sense of understanding myself around service levels, and what we can do is actually share that with councillors. I've got no objection to that. In terms of your feedback around the weeds, we will of course follow it up with the staff. We have had a lot of wet weather. We're now heading into summer, so of course they are growing quicker right around the stripe, but I will follow that one up and we can bring that back to you. Just to address as well, through the Mayor, Councillor Collins' comments, we will follow up with the Property and Recreation team regarding the canteen to make sure that's in a fit and proper condition ahead of those events. Something else, councillors, I just wanted to mention that wasn't in this report is, I guess just on behalf of management, is to congratulate our Parks and Reserves team for the big lift they did to do the landscaping in front of the Corindai Aquatic Centre over recent weeks. It's not actually touched on in this report, but they did an absolutely terrific job. They were working very long days. For those of you who haven't driven past to go down and check it out, I very much encourage you to, because it looks $1 million, and the Parks and Reserves team did a terrific job on that.
They did. Yes, here, Mr. General Manager.
Well said, General Manager. So, you're right, Councillor Kane?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else? Councillor Lawson.
I was going to say, Dan just said about out front of the Aquatic Centre, how well they did there. So concur with that very much. So it's amazing how quickly they pulled that all off. And also just to see the maintenance that's been done on the playgrounds, including Werris Creek, the softball, fixing flying box, things like that can make a difference. So share that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 8.2, the monthly works report. The recommendation of Council 1 receive and note the monthly works report for November 2025. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Cullen. Second, please. Councillor Robinson. Does the Mayor wish to speak to the motion?
No, it's been.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Senga, we're right. If not, all in favour? Against? Carried. Councillor Senga, did you vote? Yes? Yeah, good, thank you. All in favour, so it was carried unanimously. Thank you. 8.3, the monthly water and wastewater status. The recommendation of Council 1, receive and note the monthly water and wastewater status report for November 2025. Do I have a motion, please? So, give the voice to the TV. Councillor Simpson, seconder, Councillor Kane. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Just ever so quickly, Mr. Mayor. Two things. I note that some positive work has been done to improve compliance around some chemical handling. Unfortunately, it appears that that's a result of a notifiable incident. If appropriate, I'm happy to have a conversation about it. I wouldn't mind if council be alerted to notifiable incidents. We do have maybe not as solid a responsibility for the safety of staff at council as the general manager and the other officers. However, we do have a responsibility, and it would be nice to know if someone unfortunately has gone home in worse nick than they showed up. My second point is it's quite common knowledge within council that the water services team is struggles with resources and manpower and things. Can someone explain why council's water services staff were doing landscaping work at the pool, please?
The general manager.
Thank you, Councillor, for that question. I'm just the Director of Planning and Community, and I will defer to her on this particular question.
Thank you, Councillor, for the question, and through the Mayor, I can't give you a whole answer, but I understand that the water services team did provide some assistance in terms of setting up the irrigation and doing some work, I think, around underboring and that sort of thing. They could have, I'm not sure about actually landscaping, but I am aware that they had to do some works in relation to preparing the garden beds and the RPZ. Is that of assistance?
You're right, Councillor Simpson.
Yes.
I think I was just helping out with whatever they did in water, so to pass the gardens, but I was dig up a pipe or do whatever else. So I mean, just helping out.
Yeah, it was more an interpretation of how the report is written. It does specifically note landscaping, which I can understand helping out with operational water requirements and things, but that team cop an absolute hiding without having enough people. So I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Councillor Simpson. Anyone else wishing to speak for Councillor Lawson?
I just note that it did say to facilitate landscaping, so I'm not sure about exactly that. I've just noticed in there too, makes reference to the under the wastewater treatment that progressing of the treatment plan, and I thought that this had been postponed at this point in time. Is that project still able to be progressed, or has it been postponed at this time? Thank you.
The general manager.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that project's been postponed, but we're still at early scope phase work, so there is work being done by the manager of water and waste in actually getting the project underway from when it starts. So we do still have a minimal budget of 200,000 left over of the 13 million on the wastewater treatment.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Yeah. Against? Oh, there he is. Thank you. Unanimously in favour. Thank you. 9.1, the monthly development and building report for October 2025. The recommendation of Council 1, receive and note the development and building report for October 2025. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Lawson. Second, please. Councillor Allen. Thank you. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Yes.
Councillor Lawson.
Just wanted to say thank you for the change to the graph and the inclusion of the table there on the approved development value. It's is a much better representation of what's going on, because I know before our bar graph was a bit sad because we've had some really high value projects included in previous years. So by having that table there with those figures, you know, it gives us a much better indication of what actually went on in that time. We're not actually tracking too badly in terms of from year to year.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone else wishing to speak? Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I've just got a question on 44 Marriott Street in Oliver Dale with the 2 temporary storage units. They were originally set up for dwellings. Will that material that allows them to be used as a dwelling, does it have to be removed? And also on 20 Ray Carter Drive, a big storage shed. Now, that bloke's been extremely hard done by. He's had cranes and everything. He was promised that that was all right to go. They were just waiting on someone to come back from leave and sign those documents. So it was promised that he would have that by last week. Has that been fulfilled? Straight opposite the water tank.
Don't. So, to the general manager.
Thank you, Councillor, for your question, and through the Mayor. In relation to 44 Maria Street, the development application will be assessed in accordance with the application that they've made. So whatever use they have put forward, that will be determined, that will be assessed as per that use and in accordance with the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. So if there is living quarters or whatever in there and it doesn't accord with what they've applied for, that will be dealt with through the development assessment. In relation to Ray Carter Drive, I don't have any information on hand with me at the moment, but I'm happy to circulate that outside of the meeting, just confirming that it is, there's a construction certificate. Is that the one that you're referring to, or is there a development application?
For a storage shed.
So is that a construction certificate 11/2021?
25 regular drive.
25 rate.
Yeah. Right opposite the vehicle. It's a development application for a storage shed.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I'll follow that up and circulate it to all councillors outside the session.
Thank you.
Right, councillor.
Yeah.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against councillor Cowan?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's just a question in relation to one of the applications referring to 62 Broad Street, Brindle, temporary use of the road corridor for storage. Just wondering if our council can give us an indication of how long temporary use is expected to be.
Thank you, councillor, for the question, and through you, Mr Mayor, I'll circulate some information out of session. We have been following that matter.
Thank you very much. Is that right there? Yeah. Councillor Robinson.
Trying to move things along. Apparently our certifier only works 1 day a week. Is it possible to bump that up at all, or get someone in this office that can do that work? Thank you.
To the general manager.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson, for the question. Through the now, I feel the director will have something to add herself. But what I will say is this calendar year we have attempted to recruit the building certified role only on 2 separate occasions. We do currently use a contractor service. It is a very hard to recruit and challenging position. All councils struggle with getting qualified building certifiers. We will continue to advertise the role and attempt to recruit it, but until such time as we can recruit an in-house resource, we do rely on contracted resources.
Councillor Allen.
I'm just hoping that this hasn't crossed over into having works that may have potentially come into the Liverpool Plains and this had affected it. Certified if it doesn't take phone calls outside of Tuesday, specifically speaking. And it's a shame that we have had businesses that want to come or companies that want to come and he's relaying that message back. And then he's not being favourable to companies that are wanting to deal outside of Tuesday, which is, it's not their fault that they want to deal outside of Tuesday. It should not be happening. And if it's affected the companies then wanting to come set up in the Liverpool Plains, that's the flow-on effect from that. So I'm hoping that this hasn't happened. It's only a statement.
It's a good statement.
Brenda Jam.
Thank you, Councillor, for the question and through the Mayor. Just in response to that, yes, the contractor does operate on a Tuesday. If there's issues outside of that particular day, applicants, developers, or whatever, in relation to certification requirements should really contact the front office and we can deal with the matters as they come through. There is a considerable cost associated with contractors and the council may or may not be aware that we have a number of contractors operating within that team. We need to balance the operational needs in terms of the number of construction certificates, compliant development certificates, Section 68 applications and critical inspections that we're doing and balance the service accordingly. I would suggest that in the first instance, if they're not getting the satisfaction that they require through contacting the certifier, which they should do through the general office number, then it should be raised with the manager or myself, and then we can deal with that particular matter. But I have made it abundantly clear to the staff that we are to be an outward-focused, customer-focused team.
Thank you, Councillor Allen.
Since it's so hard to get someone who's qualified, can we get a cadetship or a traineeship, train them up, and some sort of guarantee that they stay here for X amount of times after we've finished training them?
The general manager. The general manager.
Thank you, Councillor, for the question and through the Mayor. So to take on a trainee building certifier, you need a building certifier on staff pretty well full time to undertake the training. It's just not training that occurs through study of books and assignments. It's actually a very much a on the ground, in the field type role. And along with the traineeship, then they have to attain accreditation and maintain that accreditation. And that in itself creates a number of issues. I am turning my mind to building certification within the planning regulation team at the moment, but it is, as the General Manager said, it's extremely hard to recruit certifiers, and the further you are away from a large centre where there is a lot of certification work, it becomes even more difficult, and you have to have the amount of work to equal a full-time employee in that particular area. So really, council needs to be considering a whole range of service models in relation to certification.
Thank you, Mr. Jam.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, just to build on the Director's comments, what I want to draw Council's attention to is even when Council secured funding before my arrival, I believe it was late last year, for various cadet, apprentice and trainee roles through the Office of Local Government's Fresh Start programs. We have got a couple of apprentices up in the depot who are doing fantastic work, but what I will say is the world has changed considerably, and cadet, apprentice and trainee roles are incredibly difficult to fill. Young people have plenty of options nowadays of the roles that we were able to fill. So the funded positions that we got for cadets, apprentices and trainees, we were not able to recruit all of them. because there just were not the applicants. What I will say is we had a trainee position here in the office in customer service. That employee has left and found a new job, has much more, and our cadet planner has also left. So it is very difficult to retain cadets, apprentices and trainees within the legislated, wages. But I just wanted to add that as well. For all intents and purposes, it's a very important thing for councils to have that grow our own approach, have that pipeline of talent, but it is very tricky nowadays to get that talent.
Councillor Lawson.
And onto that, building certifier is often, not always, but often, builders that have gone on to do that training certification. The amount of technical knowledge that's required, and standards and everything, and practical application of knowledge is quite substantial. So obviously with our contract, building certified, being only available on Tuesdays for inspections, that limits the timing of inspections, which I can say from a business point of view can be difficult. However, that's more of a cost to council in terms of opportunity costs, because there are private certifiers. So I don't think that that's going to limit development in our shire, because there are private certifiers that do provide that service outside of what council provides. That are a lot more flexible in terms of that. I'm not saying that we should be pushing people to that. Obviously, being able to provide that service is great for our business model. But being a small shire, that's the position that we're in. As much as we'll keep trying to improve that, right now there is still that other option of people going to a private certifier in order to certify their development at those stages of training or other days. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. Councillor Allen.
That's all good and well. Doesn't help. And explaining the past tense and moving into the future where we are, we've seen a big significant change and a move forward. But the one thing we haven't seen with that area. And yes, in an ideal world where every organisation, every company could provide their own or have enough funding within their budgets to allow that would be good and would be what we're thinking straight, but a lot of them don't. And I just hate to feel that we have lost a few enterprises in the past. Just a shame. That's all. This is Damon again.
Understand where you come from, Councillor Allen. I think for small council, I think we do a pretty fair job of in that regard. Mainly part under the new director, I think will come to play. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? All in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 9.2 DA 2025/26 proposed shed 34 Glenbrook Road, Narrabubula. The recommendation of the council: A, grant conditional development consent to DA 2025/26 for the construction of a storage shed at 34 Glenbrook Road, Narrabubula, in accordance with the conditions listed in Annexure D. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Robinson. Second, please. Councillor Kane, thank you. Does the member wish to speak to the motion? Yes or no, Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I believe this is a good thing. It's development. There's been some controversial ones go through, but to me, I don't see any issue with this. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Lawson.
Support the motion. Having a look at the location, even though it is zoned R5, there is a lot of greenery in that in between where the boundary is for this, so I don't think it's going to impact on anyone. Also, there was only one submission received that was not objecting to it, so there's no concern for neighbours who would would appear. So I'm happy to support the motion on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? The proposed plan is that we sell, I'm meant to tell them voted for, you voted for.
So to be clear, we get to pick up.
So, good. So, four, no, so that's it. Right, thank you. So, passed unanimously, thank you. Provision of financial assistance by 2025-26 Community Funding Program, recommendation of Council 1, pursuant to section 356 of the Local Government Act of 1993, approve the provision of $15,000 in financial assistance to the following organisations via the Community Funding Program. Do you want me to read them all or yes? Yeah. Yes, all right. A, Quirindi Rotary Club, $500. B, Westpac Rescue Helicopter Services, $14.48. C, the Quirindi District Volunteer Rescue Association Squad of $1,410. D, Quirindi Fishing Club Incorporated, $1,900. B, the Plains Incorporated, $2,000. F, the Quirindi Rural Heritage Village, $2,000. G, the Quirindi Veterans Club Incorporated, $2,000. I, the Dorothy McKellar Poetry Awards, $2,000, and J, the Quirindi Swimming Club Incorporated, $1,742. Do I have a motion? Councillor Simkin. Second, please. Councillor Robertson. Does the member wish to speak to the motion?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I'd actually like to move a amended motion if I could, and I'll give some context as to why. Item 9.4 in the business paper speaks to a request from the Werris Creek Swimming Club for some assistance with regard to some lane hire fees and swimming passes, etc. Only recently, I think as early as this morning, there was an amendment made to the motion that you've just read out, where a particular organisation was deemed not to be applicable under the guidelines. So my amendment essentially is some minor changes to the amount per organisation, and I'm not sure, Julie, do you have a copy of that on the screen by chance?
Oh, sorry.
It has been. Councillor, yes, I have distributed a hard copy and I sent a copy to Councillor Kane via email.
Yeah.
And
This one,
yeah.
oh, that's this.
Can I just, as well as I'm able to view, is it managed to put balance on the screen? Oh, no, location. So, Mr. General Manager, would you like, this information has been provided. Do you want me to bring through it as well?
Councillor Finkler, do you want to speak to your proposed amendment? And then we can't put it up the screen. Do you want to tell people what they are, or are you going to do that?
No, I can read it out if you like. So I'll read the proposed motion. Pursuant to section 356 of the Act, approve the provision of $15,000 in financial assistance to the following organisations via the CFP: Quirindi Rotary 500, Westpac Rescue Helicopter 1448, the Quirindi VRA Squad 825, Fishing Club 1467, the Plains Incorporated 2000, Rural Heritage Village 2000, Dressage Club 2000, Dorothea McKellar Poetry Awards 2000, Quirindi Swimming Club Incorporated 1131. Number 2, advise the Werris Creek Sports Club that they're not eligible for the 2025-26 Community Funding Program, as they are not an entity that has not-for-profit or have the project auspiced for a not-for-profit entity. And 3, allocate $1,629 to the Werris Creek Swimming Club for the purchase of 6 adult season passes for their swim teachers, lane hire waiver until January 26, and the donation of 1 family season pass for the use as a raffle prize. The reason that I speak to this and speak to this quite passionately is learning to swim for our community's kids is one of the great life skills that we need to have, even in a regional area. I do understand that Werris Creek may have been able to apply for the funding themselves, and the reasons as to why that didn't happen I can't speak to with any certainty. But I think that this is a really good opportunity just to throw that money into what is a really valuable community organisation and has some really valuable outcomes for our kids in our communities. So I commend it to the councillors, and I do hope that everyone agrees. Thank you.
Councillor Kane.
Mr. Mayor, can I speak also in favour of Councillor Simpkins' amendment?
Yes, you can.
Mr. Mayor, I commend Mr. Simpkins for putting up this amendment, and I think we can, as Mr. Simpkins said, support all of our organisations within our funding requests and also support another. The particular group did contact me, and I had a very enlightening conversation with their secretary regarding, and in the item that is following this particular piece of business where the request is written, one of the statements was that this particular organisation did not apply for funding under this grant, and this be another part of the question. The secretary clearly tells me that, or spoke to me and said that they actually did not believe that they were entitled to ask for money under this funding because of the way this mini grant funding was written. So maybe I'm not aware how the applications are put forward and the criteria, but I fully support Councillor Simpkins' amendment. As I said, I did speak to length with members of this organisation, and I was told some sort of a few alarming things too. So this will be a very, very nice gesture if it is supported by other councillors. They've indicated to me that they've had a very, very considerable downturn in their membership this year already because of the restructure of the Crindai facility. Now, of course, quite a few swimmers have gone to the back to the Crindai Club. Also, an interesting point, Mr. Mayor, was that I was unaware, but the particular organisation actually owned their own blocks and lane ropes that must have been used at the Werris Creek facility. Unfortunately, apparently, there was no consultation regarding whether they had this before we, as an organisation, bought new blocks and lane ropes. So that's a little bit disappointing. That's obviously a change of the previous management. They've also said they did have a little bit of expensive outcome last year to keep the club afloat while the great demand on the Werris Creek pool with both clubs using the facility, and they actually went to considerable expense to buy some split ropes to divide the lanes so they could double up on the usage for one lane, so getting double the bang for the same buck, which is very good. So without waffling any more, I do hope that the councillors support this, and we will be supporting many, many great groups within our shire if this amendment becomes the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kane. Just as a side note before it hasn't become public, but I think Werris Creek Swimming Club asked Whitehaven Mine for $5,000, which I think they've received. Well, I was told they've received it. They haven't been notified yet, but so that's going to go towards the Werris Creek Swimming Club. So I'm not speaking for or against Councillor Simpkins' motion, but anyway, that's for the council to decide. But I know that they have received an extra $5,000 because they received $5,000 for, I think, for the girls in the swim club. So this money is to match for the boys in their club for whatever courses they want, whether it's lessons or for councillor Allen.
I'm not against the motion, I'm just against that you're taking it away from the, Brindisi District Volunteer Rescue Association squad and the VIAC. You're taking money away from them. I'm not 100% sure. I'd just like to know if either not so much the fishing club, I think they're doing a great job in what they're doing will attract people into the area. But the Heritage Village, the Dressage and the Plains Inc. Have they got this before? And this amount for $2,000, I think it could be split up a little more evenly and a bit more money transferred back to the SRA, because I think that they do a extremely great job, not a good job, a great job. And for them to be one of the organisations that has been cut, it just doesn't sit well with me at all. And I will point out to as part of my job as the CEO of the Walla Regional Lands Council, in our Play Our Way program, we also don't give money to both the Brindisi Street Club and the Werribee Street Club. And we've done that for this last financial year and this financial year also. So that's significant too. And I think that we had some discussions in regard to this and moving forward, that if the continuation to allow for waiver of fees for club organisations, just organisations in general in the region, that you're going to start setting a precedence that the same thing will happen with the golf club. Said exactly the same thing. It's no different. You're allowing this to continue to happen. I'm not against it, but I'm just perplexed why the BRA being to organisation to get chopped when, God forbid, you need them. That's the thing that you need to think of, and that's what I want you to think of. That's my range.
Thanks, councillor. Councillor Lawson.
Yeah, I think we've got councillor Allen saying I would like to see the board out funded for the VRA's floodlights. They do a great job in the community, and are receiving sort of donations to their kind of coin boxes. The community do a great job. If I could propose a further amendment to Councillor Simpkins' amendment, that would be that the only change to that being that we fully fund the 1,410 to the Crindai District Volunteer Rescue Association, and that the balance left over is split equally between the Crindai and Werris Creek swimming clubs, so that it is fair to both clubs that they're both receiving the same amount of assistance. Thank you. If I could have a second for that.
We're going to actually, we're going to work out, Charlie, we're going to get a councillor Simpkins motion, amendment, and we've got a, unless you're happy with councillor Lawson's amendment, councillor Simpkins.
So I'm a little confused. So my motion didn't cut money from the VRA, from what was proposed to be given to the VRA. The original proposal to give to the VRA was 705. My proposal increases that amount of money. So the question is more about why it was 705 in the first place. And if we do go with Councillor Lawson's proposal, which is fine, that would essentially mean, by very rough maths, I think about $400 for Werris Creek Swimming Club and an additional 400 for Crindai, if someone's got good with maths.
Sure, the general manager. Yeah, sorry, councillor Lawson.
Sorry, just to clarify my amendment, I'm not suggesting that you reduced the proposed allocation from the council report for the VRA. It was already below the amount that they requested. Yeah. My amendment would be bringing it up to 100% of what they requested, I know that that amount is below what some of the other organisations are receiving, and I think it's a worthy cause. And then I'll just say that the balance would be split between Greenvale and West Creek, and I'm happy to do those calculations very quickly and come back to you with what those amounts would end up being.
Through the general manager.
Thank you, councillors. At the risk of overcomplicating this further, I just wanted to add, so for context, and I believe this is flagged in the report, the number of applications, the total value was $17,358 in terms of the value of all the applications together. What has happened is when the community development team were assessing these, to get that down to the $15,000 magic number, in answer to your question, Councillor Simpkin, it looks like what has happened is the requested amount from the VRA has just been halved. So they've requested 1,410. So to get to the magic number of $15,000 overall, in the recommendation of just half of that, divided by 2, and thought that's a merit-worthy application, but let's just give them half. So I think, and I'm looking towards the director, but I believe that's what's occurred in terms of the rationale behind that figure. Just from a process perspective, I'm testing my memory of the COVID meeting practice. I believe in terms of councillor laws, so the amendment that Councillor Simpkin has put forward, in terms of process, if we're amending the amendment, but the amendment hasn't been accepted, I believe Councillor Lawson has put forward her amendment. Your motion, councillor, you either need to accept it or reject it. We then vote on your amendment to determine if that becomes the motion. If that fails, we revert back to the original motion, which could then be amended again.
Councillor Simpkin.
Yeah, no, I don't want to change it.
Councillor Lawson.
I just wanted to clarify that the amount that each swimming club would receive under the amendment I was proposing was $1,087.50.
Right. So.
I can still ask for a second if I want.
No, we've got to go through the amendment first.
He's got to look for his.
Well, if we get a mover and a seconder for the actual recommendation, or not, do we have to go to the amendment? If we get a mover and a seconder for the actual recommendation.
But Councillor did.
Councillor Simpkin's moved the amendment.
He moved to the amendment.
He moved.
I
have it. The council.
Yeah, he moved the recommendation. He moved the recommendation.
He moved the amendment.
And then he went for an amendment.
Amendment to the recommendation.
Through the general manager, he'll sort it out.
Councillor Simpkin moved an amendment to the motion. The motion never received a seconder. I seconded or spoke on the amendment that Councillor Simpkin put up.
No.
There was a seconder for the
Was
motion.
there a seconder?
Yeah, Councillor Robertson. There was a seconder. So we've got to actually vote on that before we actually go to the amendment, I would have thought.
We'll vote on that now.
That's why you're
So the easiest course of action is to vote on the amendment. If it lapses, we go back to this motion, then move an amendment.
right.
That's the easiest one.
So we will, everyone's aware of what the Councillor Simpkin's amendment is. If not, I've got no chance of telling anyone, so I don't even understand it. So we will vote on the amendment of the splitter. Is everyone aware?
Yeah. I might have a curly question to Van Jules.
I've got to vote on this, but hang on, wait there.
We vote first?
Yeah.
Well, we'll vote first, sorry, Councillor. So we'll vote on the amendment. All in favour? Against? The amendment is lost. So then we revert back to the recommendation. Is Councillor Lawson?
Just wanting to move the amendment, which is similar to the wording that we've received, with the only change being that the Quirindi District Volunteer Rescue Association would receive $1,410 under this, and that we would allocate $1,087.50 to the Quirindi Swimming Club and $1,087.50 to the Werris Creek Swimming Club. If I could have a second.
Sorry, turn it off. So this Werris Creek Swimming Club are in this recommendation.
Just and then amending the amendment that's been issued around there. It's just bills.
A reword of it. If you
Oh, right, yeah.
Complete item 9.3.
So
So,
we're being added as item J.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, yes, Councillor Kane.
Mr. Mayor, so this amendment, as it's put forward to us, we are swapping and changing amounts. The discussion regarding whether the Werris Creek Swim Club has their request accepted is following in another point of business 9.4. So it's a funny way of moving an amendment and to a motion that gets accepted, because if this happens, then what happens to the item 9.4 in the next order of business?
We probably won't get up, Councillor Kane. The recommendation says that not to accept the request from Werris Creek.
Right, but if this...
So that's up to us. That's up to us to vote on it, but that's the recommendation of council.
Okay.
So we're trying to move that on to this one, so then they actually do receive some money. Because they won't receive any money in this one, probably.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. If the 9.4 is accepted as council proposes it, that is correct. Whereas Creek Swim Club would get nothing, but it's putting some pressure on the decision making of this particular business item too, isn't it?
Well, true, but it makes it easier if we do it now, then we actually are sure they're getting some money. So, is everyone aware of Councillor Lawson's? We need a seconder for that motion.
Yes.
Councillor Allen. Councillor Allen. Second to the proposal, which is the same as Councillor Lawson will speak to that.
So pretty much what I said before, it's regularly put forward earlier by Councillor Simpkin, just with the change there to the VRA, because I believe that's a very important community service. So allow them to purchase that equipment, I think, is vital for the community. And I just want to show fairness between both swimming clubs that have both been impacted by the later opening of the pool, and both providing learn to swim classes, which is very important. So even though Werris Creek Swim Club hasn't put in to the community funding round in the form that we needed, I think this is a good opportunity, seeing as we've got some bandwidth in that allocation of funding to provide them with some financial assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. So everyone's aware. Does anyone want me to clarify that the VRA will go back to $1,410? The Quirindi Swimming Club will receive $1,087.50, and the Werris Creek Swim Club will receive $1,087.50. They are. Is that the only change? The fishing clubs, but you know, they stay wherever they are. So is everyone aware of Councillor Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is with the Dorothy McKellar Poetry Award. The last round of funding, I tried to get funding for the Twindai High School for a bus to go to town for the young driver's ed. The filling jam at the time said this community grant money could not be used for anything educational. So that was the thinking back then. Why has it changed now? Thank you.
To the General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson, and through the Mayor. While I wasn't here at the time, what I'm wondering is if, because it's the school, it's quite common for, having worked at other councils, for councils to exclude schools from being eligible to seek funding from the local council, and their schools are directed back to either obtain funding from the Department of Education or from their own P&C associations through fundraising efforts. So while I wasn't here at the time and can't speak to it, but I do wonder if that's what the interim general manager meant at the time when he said that it couldn't be used for anything educational, but that's just a guess.
I think looking at it, but I think the poetry workshops is probably quite important for the kids. Whether it's always been a bit of a thing, yeah, for schools to look after themselves, but I think unless it's written black and white in the document, we might as well allow it this time out.
Would we just look into that for further?
Well, for the next round. Councillor Carter.
Thanks, Mayor. Just looking at Councillor Lawson's amendment and the wording is there. I think it's going to point three, Councillor Lawson may reread, because it actually specifically states what the funding will be used for, and now that we've reduced the amount of funding, it will not cover all of those items. So we made that point three of the amendment may then be reworded.
Oh.
It can be changed to say that whereas that is to assist them with the purchase of the adult season passes, the main highway fees, and then it mentions a donation of family season pass. All of those things. Yeah.
Just take it. Thank you. Yeah, I would have thought we just take it out. Take three out of it, so it doesn't, they can spend it.
Including the trade.
Something for $5,000 still. I have finance.
Okay.
I think what they like. Anyway, through the general manager, he wants money down to go.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. What I'll recommend is probably just including Werris Creek Swimming Club as J under clause 1, leaving clause 2 as is, and then clause 3.
Yeah.
Councillor Simp and Councillor Kane, do you understand where we're going?
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll take out of Councillor Simpkins, we'll take 3 out, so there'll be no allocation of money to Werris Creek Swimming Club. It'll be J in the financial assistance. They can spend the money however they like. And food stays the same. So if everyone's aware of what's going on, we will vote on Councillor Lawson's amendment. All in favour? Yeah. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Can I just?
No? Yeah.
That's what they got through. Just say that in the next round of funding, that you look at the allocations that have happened previously and not allow the same organisations to continue by the SRA. I think they can. And any other organisation in that area, to be completely honest, I'm glad that they're putting in for it now and they can go multiple times. But other organisations, because
it's a bit like the Heritage Building.
Yeah,
it's a bit like the Heritage Building. That's very hard for them to source income. Yeah. That's why clubs or generally schools that have outsource income, it's fine. But for the groups that actually are self-funding or non-for-profit organisations, I think that's where the funding is meant to be.
I just think that there.
And it's a bit like the Westpac helicopter, but they do a great job. They do raise a lot of money outside. If we can chip in, that's great. So, just quickly, councillor Roberts.
Yeah, well, I don't think that the Heritage Village is struggling at all with cash.
That councillor Robertson, but anyway, thank you very much. So we've actually voted, we ticked the box. Luckily, it's not raining. Anyway, 9.4, section 356, request for financial assistance, whereas Branch Bank Club. Recommendation of Council 1 to note the request for financial assistance submitted by Werrisbury Swimming Club, appended to Annex A, and 2, decline the request for the reasons outlined in this report. Do I have a motion? So Cohen, seconder, should let this later, Councillor Lawson. Does the member wish to speak to the motion?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Lawson.
Just in case this is taken out of context, obviously we provided financial assistance with the previous items, so that's why. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Kane.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say that it's sort of, we're actually saying that there was opportunity to apply for funding. And as I said, my consultation with some of the executive of that group indicated to me that they thought it would be unfair and not acceptable that they did try and apply for funding. So I'm just wondering, as an organisation, do we look at some of the criteria in that funding? I'm disappointed that they will be sort of out of pocket what they ask, but majority rules in council, and I'm just wondering. It's very similar to some of our other requests and donations that we do give, and when you take note of the 2 items that they're accepting, that they're asking for, which is a lane hiring waiver of fees and a donation of $315 for a season pass. When you actually read into that, the fact that someone is going to buy a season pass, well, we don't really know. It's income that we may or may not have received. And it's a bit like, I suppose, the lane hire after the what's been happening the last couple of years. It's again an impost on an organisation that struggles for money. And again, just to the councillor's benefit, I was surprised that it was explained to me that, the remuneration that they're talking about regarding the 6 adult season passes for teachers, the club also remunerates them financially out of their own funds. So it's a tough gig trying to run a sporting group to help the community and then have high finance impact upon them. But as I said, the group has made the decision. So I'd just like to have it recorded that I'm slightly disappointed that they're not receiving their request. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kane. Through the General Manager. Comment.
Thank you, Councillor Kane. And through the Mayor, just a few points. So firstly, you did indicate you hope this policy gets looked at, and I think if it's not abundantly clear from the past 25 minutes, perhaps we do need to look at this program and how it is run and the criteria. I can assure you we will be looking at this and we will look at the policy and the criteria and bring something back to council in February. But just how financial assistance works under the Local Government Act in response to your comment about the season pass, someone's got to pay for it. So even if we did provide that season pass, we've still got to write it up on our books as a donation, because it's in-kind assistance as well. Even if it's not a dollar figure, it is still in-kind assistance. So we still have to show it on our books as, financial assistance.
Yep. Okay.
Councillor Lawson.
I think it's important to clarify that this particular financial assistance wouldn't have been practical. It would have to go on a 28-day public exhibition, by which time, the provision of passes would be not good at that point because obviously the swim season has already begun. So being able to provide this financial assistance under this particular motion wasn't really going to work anyway. And I'll just say further to always be very supportive of the operations of both swim clubs. When we first had the fees come in and they were not fair and not workable for the West Creek Swim Club, I put up the motion to change the lane hire fees and everything to actually make a workable solution for them that they were happy with. So it's not that we're not trying to help these organisations along, but this particular request just didn't come in format that we can actually go along with. So it's really good that we've been able to provide them with some financial assistance under community grants, because it would have been unworkable under this particular provision. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Laws.
Let's just add one more.
Oh, Councillor Allen.
Thanks. Brindai Swim Club read the rule. Brindai Swim Club understood the rule. How didn't Werris Creek Swim Club understand the same rule? They're weird. That's what I'll say, because it doesn't make no sense what you're saying, Sean. And as a councillor, to say what you said doesn't really make sense either. Because we've got some really skilled and highly educated people on the Werris Creek one, and we've got the same on the Brindai one. And it reads pretty easy. The actual reading, but it doesn't need to change at all. It reads easy. It's, quite there, but just reflects down that line.
Thank you, Councillor. I think that because they put in for white note, I think really they probably didn't think they put in the grant everywhere. Maybe. And then Wallace does their grant writing and she knows exactly what she's doing. So
that was like what I
mentioned. They went for Whitehaven and as far as I know they're successful. So and this helps them in every way. So anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Councillor Kane is against.
No. Ken was sorry.
Oh,
no,
all?
Yep.
Sorry. Sorry, Jim. All in favour, so it's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. The appointment, 1.5, appointment of councillor delegates to local advisory committees. The recommendation of Council 1, appoint the councillor delegates to the following local advisory committees. A, Currabubba, B, Corinda, C, Wollabada, D, Willow Tree, E, Western Plains. We've got to probably name the councils before we move the motion, do we? So do I have any people that would like to go on the Currabubba local advisory group? Okay, Councillor Allen. We just make it simple, please, fellas, because we haven't got. Corinda, Councillor Lawson. Oliver Dar, Councillor Robinson. Willow Tree, Councillor Cowan. Western Plains, Councillor Simpkin. Right, everybody happy?
That's Werris Creek getting one.
No, they've got Werris Creek and Councillor Kane brought in before and Boyce. Progress Association, so they don't want to become a lag. So Councillor Kane can be.
So you're sitting on that.
He can sit on that committee as is. So the recommendation: Currabubba, Councillor Allen, Crindike, Councillor Lawson, Wollabada, Councillor Robinson, Willow Tree, Councillor Cowan, Western Plains, Councillor Simpkin. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Lawson, second. Councillor Allen. Does the member wish to speak to the motion? Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 9.6, establishment of Crendai Showground and Crendai Sporting Precinct User Group Forums. The recommendation of Council 1, establish the Crendai Showground User Group Forum and Crendai Sporting Precinct User Group Forum for the remainder of the current 2024-2028 term of council. The two nominate the mayor and one councillor to serve on the Crendai Showground User Group Forum. 3, nominate the mayor and one councillor to serve on the Crendai Sporting Precinct User Group Forum. And 4 note that the formal policy or terms of reference to govern the operation of the user group forums will be prepared and submitted to the December ordinary meeting. I would just like to sort of make a little change, maybe just one councillor and a support crew if they can't be there when the meetings are on. So we could probably name one major one and then a support just in case they miss an action. Is everyone in agreement with that? It doesn't have to be an amendment. It can be just, instead of having council or, it can be council. Yes, no, speak up.
Good idea.
Yeah, good idea. Right, nominate for this Trindai Showground user group. Councillor Lawson. We have a support crew. Councillor Allen. Councillor Cynthia Allen. Councillor Allen. Sporting precinct. Councillor Cowan. Support crew. Councillor Simpkin. So everyone's aware of the motion. So Councillor Lawson and Councillor Allen will be on the Trindai Showground user group forum, and Councillor Cowan and Councillor Simpkin to serve on the Trindai Sporting Precinct user group forum along with the Mayor for both committees. So do I have a motion, please?
Yes,
Cowan and Councillor Kane. Put your hand up. As the mover, we should speak to the motion. Councillor Cowan.
Yeah, I commend this recommendation and speaking to everyone, so that's certainly in favour of it. I just want to make council aware that some years ago we did have formed a it was called the Sportsmen's Council, Sporting Council. I did that at the time when I was actually chairing that committee, and it was a completely utterly useless venture. Mainly because of the fact that the user groups involved in both of these organised, both of these areas of council precincts just would not talk to each other. They all had their own agendas, they all had their own wish lists, and we couldn't even get them into the same room at that point in time. However, I think that this an opportunity here where we split the two areas and looking at the people who have actually signed user agreements, I certainly commend it and I hope that it will be successful and we're speaking in favour of the proclamation.
Thank you, Councillor Cowan. Anyone else wishing to Councillor Lawson?
I've been involved previously with the Showground user group that used to be happening. I found it very productive, just for each user group knowing what the others are doing, especially as it's become a lot busier over there with all the improved facilities. So I'm really looking forward to this. The problem we have in Melbourne was user driven, so the meetings could be sporadic. So I think if it's a council driven venture with someone actually allocated to attending it, that will kind of keep it alive, hopefully, a bit more than it was before. So yeah, we're all looking forward to getting that back up off the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, all in favour? Yes, carried unanimously. Thank you. Delegates reports, 10.1, Local Government New South Wales Water Management Conference in September 2025. Would Councillor Kane like to move that report?
Yes, I would, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to speak on it also, if I could.
Get a seconder? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lawson? Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor.
Oh.
So look, I think it's a relatively detailed report in a black and white form, but on a verbal form, I can sort of say that, look, I was very, I felt honoured to actually attend, and it was very, very worthwhile and meaningful for me working in the water and wastewater industry. So very long drive, a long way to get there, and it was the first council conference that I've attended, but it was wonderful. I really, really did enjoy it. I was a very proud councillor, actually. So day 2, there's a lot of information in that report, and I'd just like to highlight a couple of things. But day 2 probably was the proud moment for myself as being a councillor. Our water manager, Rod Badahan, made a presentation to a very, very large group. In actual fact, as they pair off on the second day to delegate speeches of particular points of interest for all the delegates there, being both government and councillors, as well as council staff, of course, and GMs. Rod, along with GHD, technically, if it was at a ticketed event, he would have hit pay dirt because it was the highest attended delegates report or meeting. So I attended that to give Rod some support to see an LPSC Guernsey in the audience. He spoke extremely well. Was very, very proud that, and most people also were extremely impressed with the presentation on the fact that a small council like LPSC had pulled off a major achievement through COVID, especially getting that project designed for many, many years, the foresight that went into it, getting it up, funded, federally and state funded, and then through to construction. Again, everyone was mesmerised how well it still proceeded through COVID, which of course everything else collapsed. And then at the very, very end, to come in significantly under budget, which is just remarkable for a project that size. So it was a great PowerPoint presentation. Lots of questions on the management strategy, the D&C design, how we actually looked at the source water, the needs, the future proofing of that source water to it actually delivering through a process of 9 processes that we use out there to actually give it and also longevity. So in the future with our ultraviolet, UV and ozone treatments, which again, the state government was talking about will becoming mandatory. So we've already got that in our plan. So the fact that we had the hindsight to incorporate it in our design before it become a mandatory requirement in years to come is a great, great bonus. So that was probably the highlight day 2. We're a very small player in the game of wastewater. When you go to a sewage treatment plant for the size of Albury Wodonga, which is pumps in 200 litres per second of raw sewer. To give you a concept, we move about 20 or 30 on an average with both of our plants. So it was wonderful to see some of their infrastructure, their reuse system. Also, we were lucky enough to go to their water filtration plant, both being expanded greatly because of the exponential growth of Albury Wodonga. So they're in real, they're in real trouble meeting water demand. They process about 70 meg a day of treated water prime time. So that even makes Tamworth look tiny. They're around the 50 mark. So they've built a mirrored plant on the same sites, and they're just about to do that exactly the same with their sewer treatment plant. Day 3 was probably also a winner. Some great talks on PFAS. So the danger that's just coming through our area at the moment, of course, at Narrabri. So some great data. I've kept some PowerPoint presentations and some data, which I'd like anyone to ask and share. So the conference was good enough to do all the PowerPoint presentations and some guest speakers' data and put them on a tag for me, which is a bit unusual. But Sean Kane, being a councillor and a pain in the bottom, harped and we've got that. So that was good. So that was wonderful. The PFAS seminar was brilliant. There was a talk, of course, on Wagga, which is the key issue. Also a very great presentation of what happened at the Blue Mountains when they discovered PFAS in their water supplies, how they managed it, how they dilution is the solution, which is a famous term in water filtration. So it was a great presentation on how they managed to get themselves through. And probably the other key thing to do with us too, and especially with our waste strategy, was a seminar on biosolids and biochar, which is the high temperature incineration of waste. And was quite fascinating. Again, I've got some data on it. it was absolutely brilliant to sit and listen how this biochar, when they're converting hundreds of thousands of tonnes of clinical waste, sewer waste, and also our normal waste stream into 1-2 kilo packages. Packaged plants, pretty impressive. So that was it. It was a great 3 days, long drive, but I really enjoyed it and was very, very proud to be asked to attend it. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, long-winded, but lots happened in 3 days. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kane. It's a very in-depth report, and if anyone wants some extra material, I'm sure Councillor Kane will provide it. If anyone else want to speak against the motion? If not, all in favour? Yes, carried unanimously. Thank you. 11.1, response to questions on notice. Councillor Sean Kane, design specifications for the replacement of the swing bridge corridor. Recommendation that response to the question regarding the details raised by Councillor Sean Kane be received and noted. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Kane? Do I have a second? Councillor Robertson? Sorry, Carl. Does the leader wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Kane?
Mr. Mayor, it's just nice to see that our questions are being carried forth and answered. So I'm looking forward. I see there will be a report coming. So I'm really, really grateful that this is a new procedure that I see that's been adopted in our council meeting. So I think it's a great way that all councillors can get some data back to questions that they're unsure of, and their questions to be answered. So I thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
The GM wants to comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kane, through the Mayor. It's not actually a new procedure, it's just a new procedure here at Liverpool Plains Shire Council.
Yes.
So, under the Code of Meeting Practice, where an officer does take a question to be noticed, the Code requires them to provide a report to the next, or a response to the next council meeting, and that's certainly what we're trying to do from here on.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anyone else wish to speak more against the motion? If not, all in favour? Against? Yeah. Oh. Well, it's in the business plan, Councillor. Just the question that was asked and the reply. Well, I'm not quite sure. I was happy to see with the
It's just a question.
Well, true.
MSP's provided the answer to this thing.
Anyway.
So it's not really,
Done.
that we began to that.
Just vote. 11.2, response to question on notice. Councillor Donald Lawson, the Yarram Creek Bridge bypass design specifications. The recommendation response to the question regarding the Yarram Creek Bridge bypass design specifications raised by Councillor Donald Lawson received and noted. Do we going to go through the process? No, we don't have to say right. Take Councillor Allen's vision on notice. So is Councillor Lawson happy with the response?
Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah, Councillor Lawson.
Yeah, just once again, thank you for addressing that question, and I'm happy to see that the project's also being reviewed and looked at. So I did raise some concerns outside of council about that as well, so thank you for that.
If you're watching at home and you're unsure what's going on, you have to read the business statement. 11.3, response to question on notice of Councillor Terry Cohen, the contractor liability and post-work standards. The recommendation of the response to the question regarding whether contractors are responsible for cleaning up worksite, specifically in ensuring that grass clippings and other debris are not left in the curb and gutter raised. So this was raised by Councillor Cohen, which received and noted. Councillor Cohen, are you happy with your response?
Just one quick mention, Mr. Mayor, please. That is that it's a shame, I suppose, that I'm quite happy with the answers that have been given. The question wasn't directed that council workers were contractors engaged by council. They all seem to effectively do what they do. It is more to do with the contractors that work privately and commercially with residents or businesses. And it's a little bit disappointing that we have a limited ability to act against those people. And they're messing up our gutters and our footpaths. We'll leave it at that. I'm quite happy with the answers that were provided. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. And lastly, the 11.4 response to the question I noticed by Councillor James Robinson, man shed involvement in waste bin surround construction and maintenance. The response to this, the update on the engagement of the local men sheds to assist with the construction and maintenance of the waste bins throughout the LGA was raised by Councillor Robinson. So are you happy, Councillor Officer, with the update?
I was just wondering, when these get rebuilt, can they construct them out of steel and make it powder coated so they've got a 100-year lifespan? Because if they're made out of people back in the same spot 10 years time.
Thank you, through the GM.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Through the Mayor, very good point, Councillor Robertson. As the response says, 10 have been taken out of service to be repaired. As a keen pedestrian on the streets of Quirindi, I can tell you that I think most of the bins are around CBD, if not all of them, are in a very similar condition. And the operations team is actually working on a budget bid for consideration of next year's budget, which will come to councillors for that exact.
Councillor Robinson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. So we move into confidential. So we are working on your road, Jen. Working on my road. Oh, on your road, lighting road. Yes. So it turned off. I'm going to move a motion now. It's confidential matters. The recommendation the council considers the confidential reports listed below in a meeting linked but closed to the public in accordance with section 10A brackets 2 Local Government Act of 1993, 12.1 RFT 133 / 2025 supply and delivery of one solid waste removal truck. This matter is considered to be confidential under the section 10A brackets 2-C brackets of the Local Government Act. And the council is satisfied that discussion of this matter and open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest deals with information that one is disclosed and fair commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting all process to conduct business. I'm just going to go through the other, because they're all under the same category, aren't they? Or are they confidential? Largely, so far, can I do that? I don't have to read out last month's thing. So 12.2 is RFP 114/2025 supply and delivery of 2 water cars. 12.3 supply and delivery of aggregates. 12.4 disposal of the Royal Theatre Quirindi. 12.5 the Mayoral General Manager's Performance Agreement mid-year review. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A brackets 2 brackets A of the Local Government Act, and the council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in open council would on balance be contrary to the public interest as it deals with personal matters concerning particular individuals. Do I have a motion? Councillor Lawson, seconder, Councillor Simkin. Anyone wish to speak? No. Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Robinson.
Yes, I just think the disposal of the Royal Theatre should be in open house again because it affects the ratepayers and it is one of their assets. I've thought that up twice now.
Sorry, you're right. I'm going to go next. Sorry, Councillor Robinson. We do have a motor removal, but then we spoke the next time. Better go through each one.
Yes, separate items, but
Yes.
in terms of movement.
Oh, moving into confidential. So, all in favour of moving into confidential? Against? Carried unanimously. So, 12.1. RFT 133/2024. So the report on the confidential matters, 12.1 RFT 133/2025, supply and delivery of one solid waste removal truck was passed unanimously. Recommendation was passed unanimously. 12.2 RFT 114/2025, supply and delivery of two water carts. The recommendation, the resolution was unanimous in favour of it. 12.3, supply and delivery of aggregates. That recommendation was delayed on the table till the next meeting. 12.4, disposal of the Royal Theatre Corindi. Recommendation was unanimous. Favour of it. 12.5, the mayoral amendment to the general manager's performance agreement mid-year review. The resolution was passed. In favour of it, and the meeting closed at 5:42. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Thanks, Councillor Kayan and Councillor Semkin for your time and effort. Very good of you. Thank you.
Thank you from a